in my boat.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno. My bad. I think we've got the tech working well enough to where we are ready to go. As we file back in, how's everybody doing? It is a Jerry Reynolds Wednesday. We've got a few news items before Jerry joins us at 3:30. Looking forward to that. Jerry will be taking your questions as always. So about 3:25, start putting those questions in the chat, and we will start getting to some of those when he joins us. This is the time of year where, we're not going to just hammer you about, did you see Neek's reverse pivot? Is that something we should be worried about? Is it something he needs to work on? We're not going to do that stuff. This is a little bit more of an open, fun conversation. If there's something that maybe you've always wanted to ask Jerry that you haven't asked Jerry, this is the goal on a day like this, a Jerry Reynolds Wednesday.
Oh boy, that's a tough one.
That's what you
see. This guy knows basketball. Oh,
that's what you're looking for. You're looking for, that's a great one. It's a tough question. This guy knows basketball. So, anyways, if you are somebody that's working for the Miami Heat, actually, I should say, volume's low. Are we better? Sounds better? Better? Okay. That's what happens when we go on the road. What's up? Okay. If you are a member of the social media team for the Miami Heat,
if you're getting ready for work right now, then you're probably not.
The Miami Heat social media team. Did you catch what happened today? This has gotten so ridiculous that, there's like some ESPN intern that's like sitting there just scanning the interweb and social media for any little change. Well, the Heat prepared. Check this out. Miami Heat YouTube slip up fuels LeBron free agency. The Heat prepared the July 27th YouTube live stream just in case James signed, but a spokesperson confirmed to ESPN it was a publishing error. That does not happen. You do not accidentally put a stream on YouTube, like the date already set up. Like we've told you for a minute, Jerry's told you that Grant and I talked about it last night. LeBron knows where he's going. Like this is not like at the decision part of where we're at in the summer, right? And so I don't think that was a mistake. If you're LeBron James, how pissed are you at that? If it turns out to be real, obviously they would change the date of the introductory press conference, but that's a little more than a coincidence to me. Does anybody else see it differently? Are you on my side? Like, that's okay. We're getting set up. That's about the right time. LeBron will have 2 days, 2 news cycles to have everybody talk about him, and then he'll get the third, which will be the introductory press conference. So does that mean a decision's coming this week? We'll see. Maybe a early Friday morning decision. So you get all of Friday, you have the weekend to talk about it, and then a Monday press conference. Would that have been the 27th? Trying to do the math there. We're getting close. So anyways, somebody's probably out of a job in Miami, and rightfully so. You can't make that mistake. In other news, something that we've hammered over the head on this channel, and if you're just joining us, Jerry Reynolds will be with us here in about 20 minutes. We've talked about the backup point guard position for the Sacramento Kings, a topic of conversation that is usually fairly heated between fans. I have, I'm looking at the different groups of people that will come after you. The Swifties are they're there. I mean, they're the top of the list. The Swifties is where it starts. If you do something wrong, you are going to get swarmed like a bunch of Africanized bees by the Swifties. But I gotta say, man, the Russell Westbrook fan group, not just here in Sacramento, but nationally, the Westies, they're not too far off. I felt their wrath 2 or 3 times during the season. And so the stigmatizing, the polarizing conversation here in Sacramento is, will Russ be back? Does Darius Yakup need a mentor? I think Jerry and I are on the same page. There's too much of that when it comes to, or too much made of mentors, mentees, etc. Well, there's reports that started leaking out yesterday that the Kings are not interested in bringing Russell Westbrook back. It's been my stance, it's been my understanding since the season ended. And I even go back to Scott Perry's press conference before they took off for Vegas. He was complimentary, but he was very frank when it came in direct about Westbrook. Here was Scott Perry.
We'll continue to evaluate that through the summer. Obviously we're getting ready to go to Las Vegas and watch Summer League play there. So we'll be open to any opportunity to help gets us better, whether that is someone that's not currently on the roster, or maybe we feel that we have enough on our roster that we can kind of fill that gap or that void in terms of being a backup point guard. So that's a very important position, and we'll make sure that we give it the proper attention that we need to.
On the roster, who is options on the roster currently right now?
Well, I mean, I think Malik Monk has played it in the past. We've seen him do it a little bit. Nick Clifford, we auditioned him a little bit toward the end of the year. In today's game, it's just you need multiple ball handlers on the floor who can just initiate offense. They may not all be quote unquote pure point guards. I think Darius is showing you quickly that he's going to be able to be that. But so anyway, there's a variety of ways you can go about filling that.
Is bringing Russell Westbrook back one of those options that kind of in your mind considering there?
Russ has always been a favorite of mine, as you know that. Russell Westbrook probably outplayed a minimum contract, which is all we have right now. So that's all I have really to say about him right now.
Scott, what do you say?
I mean, that to me is very direct. That to me is, we are very appreciative for what Russ did here in Sacramento, but that's where it's going to end. And if that's Scott Perry's stance, which is to me the right stance for this basketball team, especially if you are getting a Russell Westbrook that's going to be the same role that he was in last year. And I'm not sure really how you walk that role back once he's been given that much playground to play on when it comes to the offense, the amount of shots that he was taking, etc. It's really hard to roll that back and say, we're going to need you to maybe play 15 minutes off the bench. We need you to do this. We need you to do that. And as BJ says, Westbrook should go to Miami with LeBron. That's really where some of the stuff fell apart in LA, is when LeBron wanted Russ and then something happened, right? It feels like something always happens. Happened in Denver as well. A lot of reports that Russ was not happy with Mike Malone. And, Russ is Russ. You are going to get Russell Westbrook if you sign Russell Westbrook. Period. End of story. It's on the organization. It's on the team. It's on the coach to manage that and to really put some boundaries in place in what you want. Very direct. And I think that's where sometimes strong personalities, if you are not a very good team, and Russ is Russ, he thinks he can really help it. It's going to be hard to do, especially first-time head coach in Doug Christie. So I don't see it being walked back. I'm happy to see these reports coming out. And, To me, this should be the end of the line for Russ because there's not another, and I don't know that teams really look at, and the Westbrook fans, the Westies, are responding to this and, oh my gosh, he averaged this and this and this for the Kings last year, and why would you not want to bring him back? It's strictly because this is a youth movement. Scott Perry, in that same press conference, drew the line with the vets that are coming back that they're going to have to fit in, more or less. He did not say those words directly with the direction the Kings are going. They expect them to pour into the young guys and do what they are asked to do. So to me, it would completely counteract what's going to happen as we get closer to the start of training camp. The guys will likely be back in Sacktown mid to late August. Some of them probably still here. I've not checked in, but that's when they'll start like their open gyms and really getting some good runs in. So if I'm a team out there, I just, if you saw what Russ did last year, I think it's a little bit less appealing to bring him on. If you would have seen him play a support role, more of a facilitator role, understanding, taking a step back with the team that was around him, the youth that was around him, and he was great for Max Reyno. And that's where Max Reyno needs to take those things that he's learned from Russ, little things with the pick and roll game, pass them along to Darius Acuff. You don't have to have the person there to pass along the knowledge, the player like Westbrook. So I think the best course of action probably is going to be Russ retiring because I don't see any other team in the NBA that's going to give him the amount of runway that the Kings gave him last year. And if that's what he wants, I just don't think it's available. If he's willing to take a role on a Heat team, a Denver team, which I don't think would happen, etc., Detroit maybe, then yeah, I think he can play some more. But he's not going to get the experience he got last year, in my opinion, here in Sacktown. Will Jerry be a guest on any of the Discords? Yeah, I bet we will be able to pull Jerry Reynolds in as a guest. Absolutely. Thanks for helping me out with the audio. We are on the travel studio today, as you could see, but I would never, ever, ever miss a Jerry Reynolds Wednesday. The Kings should not bring back Westbrook. He is still good enough to be a bench player on a contender. We are the wrong timeline for Westbrook. Spot on. Part of the point that I'm trying to get across there. I just don't know with, and gosh, man, my perception of Russell Westbrook completely changed being around him for a season. I you know, he comes off as a strong personality, right? Because of the way he plays the basketball game. You see how he is on the court. He dresses. He's got his own little style dressing. What a great dude off the court and in the locker room for the Kings. If you could have him in a reduced role, you would do it. But the Kings know that that's just not in the cards. It's never worked anywhere else. It didn't work here in Sacramento. In fact, I've maintained that last season, Russ, if he had signed with any other team, he would have had to fit into what they were doing. The Kings were the only team in the league that made everybody else on the team fit around Russ. And so, for better or worse, you got a year of him. We'll see where it goes. If he does come back, I think it's a clear sign that Vivek Ranadive is making that decision. So Gabe Vincent seems like he could be a good fit for a backup point guard. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know that the backup point guard's on this roster though. I think, and Scott's right when he says that, you know, we've got Monk that can kind of do it and you need multiple people that can handle the ball. That's all good and true, but you've got to really look at this season and figure out, not just with your second year guys, your rookies, you have to figure out how to best play towards the strengths of your Keegan Murrays and guys like that that need to have an opportunity to take that step. And I mean a good opportunity, 15 shots a game for 25 games. You need to put that kind of person in place. And when you're asking Keegan to bring it up occasionally, you're asking a Monk to bring it up a lot of the times. I actually think Emmanuel Sharp can bring it up too. I think he showed the ability to bring it up under pressure. And then certainly Acuff's going to be on the floor a ton. But you have to think about contingencies if Acuff goes down. I mean, this is twice as long of a season as what Acuff has played. Same for Sharp, same for Caravan, etc. So we'll see what they do. No rush. I don't think there's a big run on point guards right now. I think when camp rolls around, a lot of the same names will still be available. And then you got to look at what other teams are going to do with LeBron. Do other teams have a plan B for LeBron? I personally think LeBron's value to a team is more on the business side than it actually is on the basketball side at this point in his career, especially if you're going to a loaded team, which it looks like that's the way it's going. I think the only way that LeBronda, LeBag, whatever you want to call him, saves face is if he goes to a team like Golden State. Because that to me is not going to be as close to championship chasing. That's going to be about having fun, playing with the players that you want to play with to end your career. And it's going to come with the bells and the whistles and the reality show and all that BS that a lot of us can't tolerate. But then there's the segment of the community that loves to eat that stuff up. So we'll see. And here's the other thing, too. We talk about Monk. You never know what could happen. How many times has Malik Monk been on the chopping block or at least being shopped by Scott Perry? It was crazy last season. We were hours away from free agency opening, and we had a direct source to Malik Monk. And we were told that Malik was told by Scott he was not being traded. He would be here in Sacramento. And I don't know if Scott, and I'm not saying Scott Perry went behind his back. Please do not take this that way, because easily you can pick up the phone after that and change your mind. But within days after that, Malik's name was coming up in trade talks. I think Scott saw the value of Malik mid-season and realized, I think Scott was weighing, can I get that output from somebody else at a cheaper price? And I think Scott then kind of realized how important Malik is to this group and how important I think he really could be to an up and coming team once you get there. I think Malik can be part of the solution and not part of the problem. So we will see. No LeBronda, please. Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. What would you do if LeBron came to Sacramento?
Do 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 do.
Is that what you'd go? You go do 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 do. I would not. I would not. That would be insane. No LeBron, please. Millions and millions of dollars. Who are the point guards that are available right now? I don't have all my tech with me. Normally, I would have the list in front of me. You can go to NBA.com and look at free agency. They have a tracker, and you can filter it by position. Most of these guys, most of them will be available come summer camp. So, and again, fallout, do teams do something different if they really felt like LeBron was going to be a piece to help them? I really think the only team that has the eggs in that basket where it's like, okay, this could be something that could really bring us back, it's Golden State. And Cleveland, I just don't see it. He would have already announced it already. Also, James Harden, you have that problem. I know LeBron, there's a lot of reports out there that he does not want to play with Harden. So I think you've kind of narrowed it down. I think it's Miami or it's Philly. And I'll tell you, if he goes to Philly, he will have never, this will be his first time dealing with a media group that is ruthless, that is cutthroat. He's had it pretty easy, and he's had his spats with the media already in LA and his previous stops. It would be very different in Philly. And oh my gosh, man, if they sign LeBron, you have to sign Greg Oden. You got to do it. Bring back Greg Oden. Can you imagine seeing LeBron, Greg Oden, and Embiid on the floor at the same time? Guys look like they're 50 plus in a seniors league. Oden looked like he was 60 when he was drafted to the NBA. It's insane. I liked Russ. Fair enough. Yeah, no more DeMar. Look, DeMar, I wish, and Scott echoed this, that they could have found a way to keep DeMar DeRozan. I wish they could have, because DeMar fit so well on a fleet. You can't say this. You knew what you were getting with DeMar, so you can't say, well, it's too ISO heavy. It's his game, but you did see when he played with a more balanced floor with the younger guys, it was a huge benefit to them. And I think the Kings are going to greatly miss DeMar DeRozan's passing. Speaking of passing, that's one of the things that I think is contributing to the poor three-point shooting and the lack of ability to get three-pointers up. It's the passing. It's got to improve across the board. Super fundamental thing, but a super important thing. It's a big difference between catching a basketball up here and catching a basketball in your shooting pocket. Huge, huge difference. Peter responding. Jerry's going to be with us here in any minute. Can't wait for Jerry to be here. I hope I didn't need to send Jerry a new link. We'll see. I think it should be good. I did not change the link. LeBron to the Warriors would be the best watch from a fan perspective. But I don't see LeBron going there because it's a bad look historically. Durant and then LeBron running to Curry. See, out of the teams that he's looking at, I think it's the best look. The Warriors are the team that is on paper, the furthest away from a championship. You look at everybody else, Cleveland, they were in the East Finals. A lot of people high on Philly. I am not. I don't think that's going to work. If it didn't work with Paul George, and I know Jaylen Brown is a much better player than Paul George, but their games in so many ways, what they do is very similar. So if it didn't work with him, why is it going to work with Jalen? Embiid, is he going to be? And this is the other thing. This is literally going to be a 1-year experiment. Philly is not going into the second, third aprons with the money that is still going to be owed to Joel Embiid, and you've got Maxey. It's just not going to work. It's not. I'm sorry. So, anyways, I digress. Get your questions in for Jerry right now. As you know, we are lucky enough to get to spend some time talking with Jerry. We learn something new every week. Wrestling referee, Tommy John. Last week, he caddied for a lady that won the U.S. Women's Open. Holy crap, what are we going to learn this week? Honored and happy to say Jerry Reynolds joins us here on Jerry Reynolds Wednesday. Let's see if he has a white background like me. Nope, he's in his office. What's up, buddy?
Well, good to see you, Ryno. And
Good to see
first
you
of all,
too.
I gotta correct you. I did caddy in the U.S. Women's Open in 1960, I think it was, or 61, but it was for Marlene Bauer Hagee. I think she finished like 16th or 17th.
Oh, okay. I thought you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Mickey Wright won, and I got I think, like I say, I think I got $80 out of the deal, which was might as well have been
Good
a
money.
million. Well, it'd been like $1 million to me then. You know, I was rocking and rolling, boy.
Yes, indeed. You staying cool? I like the breeze that we have today.
Yeah, it's more like it this morning, and it's a little better today. And of course, I'm in the house, so that's always better. But yeah, it looks like at least we're going to get some Delta breeze in the evenings. That makes it all the difference.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so we've got some reports the last couple of days, and I think you and I are on the same page about the Kings bringing Russell Westbrook back. They, according to the reports, are not looking to do that. And I want to play just a quick soundbite. You, as a general manager, probably been in this position. How do you take how Scott Perry answered this question about Westbrook? Does it feel complimentary? And also, we're not really looking that way. What would you take from this? Here it is.
On the floor who can just initiate offense. They may not all be quote unquote pure point guards. And I think Darius is showing you quickly that he's going to be able to be that. But so anyway, there's a variety of ways you can go about filling that.
Is bringing Russell Westbrook back one of those options that kind of in your mind considering there?
Russ has always been a favorite of mine, as you know that. Russell Westbrook probably outplayed a minimum contract, which is all we have right now. So that's all I have really to say about him right now.
Scott,
anything from that?
Well, yeah, I thought basically what Scott is probably, it sounds to me, is being as nice as he can to say we're not bringing him back.
Yeah,
that's the way I took it. Obviously, who couldn't appreciate Russ and his career and the marvelous career that he's had, but for the Kings, I don't think it makes a lot of sense right now, and so I think that's really all he was trying to do as gracefully as possible.
Yeah, and I thought he did a really good job of it.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, I doubt I could have handled it as well, but that's what you have to do is basically say, thanks for the memories, but they're memories.
Yes, they are. Uh-oh. You know what? Tristan, he's already got his question in for you.
Oh, Tristan's ready for me.
He came prepared. When someone said Ryan was holding the claret jug, did you briefly wonder what kind of show prep our Ryan had been doing? Is a surprise winner good for golf, or does that sport need stars to win? It's actually a decent question.
It really is. I think it's good for the sport to have some, guys like Ryan Fox win. I mean, obviously a late developer, 39 years old, obviously has proven that he's a good player, but hadn't ever won a major. But then again, we saw, a couple of major winners or two major winners for the first time this year. But yeah, I think you need your stars to win. I mean, you need your Scotty Schefflers and Rory McIlroys. The guys that have won a lot bring people out. As you can tell, even when they're not in the running, they still draw the biggest crowds. It's no different than basketball. The NBA needs stars. And actually, you can't win NBA without stars. But so in golf tournaments can't survive without stars. So yeah, you need them, but you can't have stars unless you have some guys win for the first time or two. Scotty Scheffler wasn't always a star. He had to finally get his first win and first majors. And same way with Rory back years ago, when he broke through. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, Tristan, but yeah, it's you need your stars, but you need your guys, breakthroughs. You need occasionally you need that young guy that's going to be a star for a long time. Golf is, like Roy McIlroy said, golf is hard, and it's hard to stay on top. Too many good players, but I love watching the Open, and I was happy for Ryan Fox. I really was. I think that it's a great story.
What do you think of the course?
I wouldn't be interested in playing it or even caddying on it, but I like links golf to watch. It's the old school thing, the bounces and this, that, and the other, and I mean, it's like you had guys shooting 62s, but when it's all said and done, 10 under won the tournament. It was still, you can get in trouble quick, and so yeah, I wouldn't want a steady diet of it. I like the beautiful American courses, the pebble beaches and sawgrass and those kind of for the most part. But I even get off the topic, but I got so I like to watch the European tour a little bit,
Oh, really?
just because the most beautiful courses, they'll be in Switzerland or somewhere with the courses, just breathtaking,
Interesting.
And so anyway, that's just one of my little interesting things of my life, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, no, you know what? It's a good reason to watch.
Yeah,
It's
just the beauty of it, and then of course you see, good young players coming up. It's like I got intrigued with Matt Fitzpatrick's brother, watching him on the European tour. Now Alex is a pretty good player, not as good as his brother, but on the PGA tour. So, it's kind of like I always say it's for me it's kind of like watching college basketball. You kind of watch certain teams, just to see who you think might be something
yeah.
a little special.
I think there's such a barrier for golf to have new stars because, Scheffler, as you mentioned, he won a couple, but he really didn't become like the household name until he got arrested, right?
Yeah. That was which I mean, who could have handled that better than he did? I mean,
Oh, I
it's one
know.
of those
Yeah.
things. What a deal. But yeah, and like I say, he hadn't won much this year, but he's always in the running. So he's solidly the number one player in the world, even though he hadn't won near like 6 or 7 wins the last couple of years each and all that. But that's golf. I mean, it's only the greats can consistently compete at the top.
Hmm.
I mean, it's because you'll see the guy JJ Spawn win a major like he did, and then maybe not miss cuts for 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, your Schefflers and McIlroys and Fitzpatrick, they're generally Coleman, Morikawa, they're kind of in there. It's kind of very similar to basketball. Top guys, cream rises to the top.
Yeah, no doubt. I just think, and you're a perfect person to ask. I think my generation, when you think about a new star in golf, you're comparing them to Tiger Woods, and we
Right.
forget like Tiger Woods is a phenom. He's a great. We were lucky to get to watch him in his prime, and you've seen so many of those enigmas, greats come along playing the game.
Yeah, with Tiger, and of course I kind of grew up with Jack Nicklaus,
Yeah,
and he was, when he burst on the scene, it was like I've never seen anybody like that.
yeah,
He was just a different, and then of course Tiger, when he came, same thing. It's like, whoa, where'd this guy come from? I always remember Charles Barkley. I love Charles, but sometimes he says some pretty ignorant things. But he was they were, I guess, lengthening Augusta, and naturally Charles said, well, they're doing that, just to keep Tiger from winning. They're basically being. And like Tiger came out and said immediately, no, that's great. It helps me because I hit it longer than everybody.
right.
It's like, Charles, did you not think of the obvious?
I mean,
that doesn't hurt Tiger. It hurts a lot of other guys. It might hurt Zach Randolph or Zach Johnson. I mean, it's guys like that, short hitters, but not Tiger. So anyway, but he was amazing. And like I say, I'd be surprised if we see his like again. I always remember right when I first started watching golf. I mean, Ben Hogan was finishing up, and Sam Snead, some of those great guys. And the one thing I would say is kind of like the changes in basketball, how the game changes, but in golf it did too. Is where those guys, the Tom Watsons and Ben Hogan, they swung so smoothly.
mm-hmm.
You didn't see those guys in those eras didn't have back problems and knee problems. They didn't, it's kind of like pitchers today. Pitchers in the old days, I mean, they didn't try to throw 100. I don't know if they could have, but they didn't try. They knew they had to pitch 9 innings.
Right.
And that torque on your back when you're trying to swing 180 mile an hour. I'm amazed that McIlroy and Justin Thomas and guys like that don't, at some point their backs just don't snap in half.
Great. I mean, they go through their fair share of injuries, but their training programs are so much different than the past players in golf.
Yeah, and Tiger's the reason for that.
Right.
I mean, he really did bring that conditioning, like an athlete, which they are different types of athletes, but they're clearly athletes. And now young golfers, they all do that. And that kind of allows them. And of course, it's also true to point out that, Tiger's had a lot of injuries, some related to golf. I mean, the knees and the back, no question. I think that we'll see how Scotty and those guys, when they get in their 40s, if they're still being able to compete.
Spot on. I was at Torrey Pines when I was
beautiful course, yeah.
Beautiful course. And because I was going to college in San Diego, I was able to have a residence card. So you'd get to play the courses super cheap. And whenever they had the farmers come out, Tiger walked right by me. Like we were right on the ropes. There was not an ounce of fat on his body. He was just built, toned. It was like, holy crap, you're playing golf?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, I mean, he was a marvel. There's no doubt about it. And great for the game. I mean, I don't think the game doesn't need a force like him now. They're lucky they've got enough. It's such an international sport now. Tiger certainly is a big reason for that.
No doubt about it. All right, we'll get back to basketball. Even though I could do a full hour with Jerry on golf, I really could.
See, that's Tristan's fault though. So Tristan got us going there on that. So
yeah, come on, Tristan. Come on,
Tristan.
If I ever get a racehorse, I'm going to name it. Come on, Tristan. Jerry, what kind of ceiling do you see for Emmanuel Sharp? Could he become starting caliber?
Great question. I don't know. That's the ceiling part. I mean, I think the ceiling for Emmanuel would be starting off guard. I mean, I don't see all-star starting off guard type thing. I see, like we were talking, I think last week a little bit, I compared him a little bit to Lou Dort.
Yeah.
And I think I would stay with that. I'm not saying he can't be he might be a little, potentially could be better. Lou, I mean, if he develops his handle, Lou really doesn't have a handle, but his defensive ability. So, now, and so I would say that might be his ceiling in that range. So could he, and that means he could become a starting guard at some point. I think a lot would do with him, who he plays with. Now, fortunately for him, if in fact Acuff is who we want him to be and hope he'll be, that probably is a pretty good combo down 2 or 3 years down the road.
It's a great point because you need the defense back there with Acuff.
Yeah, you need somebody it's a little bit a different version of Christie and Bibby back in the day.
Great point.
Christie a terrific defender and Bibby not so good, but Bibby was a very clever handler and scorer. And of course, actually, Doug kind of fit in the blanks, so to speak. And of course, I think Sharp will be a better shooter than Christie, though. Really, I think he's got a chance to be a better, more consistent shooter. But I don't think I'm not sure. I always remember scouting Doug in college, and I don't know that Sharp has the natural handle and instincts that Doug had. But then, he was a guy that could defend 2s and 3s, but really could also play the point. And I don't see Sharp quite that way.
Where do you see? 2 questions. Where do you think his handle's at right now? And also, what do you think's the best part of his game that you've seen from the summer?
Well, individual defense, I'd say, is the best part. And then second part is spot shooting. Yeah. I mean, if he gets his feet set, he's the thing I like about shooters is he kind of is one of those guys that when he misses, it's long or short. It's on online, and that's a good sign. So I think he's got those two things, that are kind of NBA caliber today. That you could see plugging in, and if he gets shots, he'll make them at a reasonable rate. And I'd say he'll be outstanding defensively day one. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of Davion that way. When you saw Davion Mitchell in the summer league, I knew he could guard people. I mean, you just said, boy, this guy he'll be okay defensively. I don't know about some other things. And of course, we saw that right away. Now, some of the other stuff we didn't see right away. And of course, naturally, I still say gave up on him too soon, which I hope we don't do that with Sharp and others.
Yeah, and I feel like the Kings, or at least Scott Perry, I think these guys are going to get a fair shot. They're Scott's draft picks, and I think that makes a huge difference.
Huge difference. Couldn't agree more, Ryno. I mean, they're his guys, and they're going to get every chance. And I always remember as a young assistant coach, Reggie Theus told me that of course, he was a star, but he said when he was traded from Chicago to Kansas City, he said that's when you realize, he said, once the team that drafted you trades you, everybody looks at you different.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no obligation to them anymore. And I've seen that to be true over the years.
I talked to Scott Perry, and I asked him, once you started the process of scouting Acuff and really digging into the game film, was there one aspect of his game that you didn't expect would be as good as it is? And he talked about kind of the change of speed. You mentioning Mike Bibby. Mike was so good about using, because he wasn't the most athletic guy, but once he got his defender behind him, more times than not, he was able to create that contact, and he focused on making the shot instead of just drawing the foul. Is that something you'd like to see Acuff kind of tie into his game as well?
Yeah, I think he can. I mean, that's the thing about Mike. Mike's certainly not as athletic as Acuff, and probably doesn't have the explosiveness at the same age. But he was so clever. I always said that's the thing that struck me with Mike Bibby. He was so clever with the ball, and he knew how to get to his spots and how to get there. And he's going to get that 18-footer, and two, he's so clever with his delivery off his shot. He really didn't have a jump shot. It was a little quick set shot, but he could get it. And so Mike was terrific that way. And I don't know that, I mean, they're so different, really. I mean, I think that Acuff is more of a true scoring point. Where Mike at his best was almost an off guard.
He was the perfect hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, he and Doug were both. Neither one were true ones. They're ones and a half. I always say the best combo guards that I ever saw like that a team was when Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge were with the Celtics. Neither one were true points, but they're both true guards.
Sure.
They could handle the point. They could handle off. And I always thought Bibby and Christie were like that.
Yeah, in some ways, Christie compensated for some of the holes that Mike had, and vice versa.
And vice versa. Yeah, that was saying, when the trade was made, Jason Williams for Bibby, it wasn't about talent, because honestly, Jason was more talented than Mike. But what we knew at the time is that Doug was ready for a bigger role, and thought that, and we needed to get better, as a consistent shooter. And of course, Jason had become a little bit of a pain in the butt. Loved him, but he still was a pain in the butt. And thought that Bibby would be a better fit with Doug, which he was, and which made the team better. Like I say, it wasn't, obviously Jason benefited from the trade, because he later on went to be a starter on a championship team. So it didn't hurt him, but yeah, that was that's the thing about team building. Sometimes you move a guy with maybe slightly more talent, but get somebody that fits better and it makes you better.
Is that more important when it comes to trades versus the draft?
Oh yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think with trades you can kind of know because you're dealing with guys that have played 3 or 4 years in the league, maybe so you really have a good idea. Well, yeah, this guy, we've seen him play for several years, and this is clearly what he can do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that where when you're drafting guys, it's always a crapshoot to some degree, but you're not sure how good they're going to be. You can say you know, but you don't. That I mean, you just don't.
No doubt. Lifestyle. Thanks for the question. Says Jerry, I'm a big Sabonis fan and think when he's used properly, he's a fantastic player. The majority of people seem to want to get rid of him. Would you want to keep Sabonis or think we should trade?
Well, I'm a huge Sabonis fan too, by the way, and but you hit on it. I mean, he's a unique skill set. I mean, for a center, a great passer, the best screener in the league, rebounding per minute. His last 5 years, he's probably the best. So there's amazing, and he can, but used properly is a key. I think he does need to be more of a hub of the offense. Which I think he can really help Acuff and vice versa. So no, I would trade Sabonis. I think you trade anybody if you think you can improve your team. But I think that's as it stands now. I think the Kings need Sabonis more than anybody else does.
Jerry, are they coming for you? I hear the helicopter.
Yeah, they've been circling all day. They'll never take me alive. I'll tell you. I'm going to get packed up, and go out there and gun them down. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Sorry, I just had to throw that in real quick.
Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah, I don't know what about to.
I don't think anybody wants to trade Sabonis. I think the crossroads that many of my peers have looked at, and I think other basketball analysts have looked at, is the number that's on the contract and where the team's at right now and where the team wants to be. And I just don't see Jerry, and Scott Perry's dropped little hints here and there, a crumb here and there. I don't think the style of basketball that Scott Perry envisions this team playing fits a Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think here again, he didn't trade for Sabonis, and so he looks at it very different, and I get that, and I don't disagree if in fact, but you don't trade him just to trade him.
No.
You really, he's a good player, and so you'd like to think, and I think that's why I wouldn't be surprised to see him move to trade deadline. The one thing that is clear now that with the new draft rules, you really need to might as well go ahead and try to win games.
Yeah.
And so Sabonis helps you do that. But I mean, yeah, if you could, at some point, if you could move Sabonis for a player that you think makes you better, or helps you, get cap room, gives you picks, whatever it is, however you get there. So I think your main point is that he probably doesn't fit the type of play or style that Scott Perry would like to have. And there again, it's kind of like the draft picks. The draft picks, most of the roster is Perry's. Sabonis and Levine, Monk are not.
Yeah.
And so, and that will be the key. Is it's like, okay, if you want to, you change the roster and you move guys. At some point, you got to get better.
Yeah.
That's all.
I wonder if Golden State, after all this LeBron stuff kind of clears out, I wonder if Golden State might pick up that phone one more time about Domas.
Yeah, I would hate to see him over there.
Me too.
I think we, yeah, Yeah, I do. That's what I think. I think we'd really regret that. I'd love to see him go to Charlotte because I think he would really help them and be a perfect fit there. Uh, and I'm not sure he'd want to go, but I mean, I think it's a young team that he could really help, and they got a chance to be good. But yeah, you can see places where he could fit, I think. But that's up to the Kings and those teams, I guess. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I wouldn't be too surprised if Golden State doesn't get back in there. And like I say, I really, I really hope they don't trade him over there. That's all I say.
He could live in his Napa property full time.
Yeah.
Flores asked Jerry, Las Vegas has the Kings winning 22.5 this upcoming season. How many games do you think the Kings will win based on the current roster?
Yeah, boy, Vegas. The thing I hate about Vegas is they're right a lot.
Yeah.
They're professionals. They're professional gamblers, and I think the only thing I think they might be wrong on is I think they're basing this roster a lot on last year's roster that was injured. But I think, and that's a key. But if Keegan Murray and Sabonis and Monk, are healthy all year or most of the year, and then and certainly a Hunter, still a good player that wasn't available. I think you add them to the mix. I see more than 22.5 now. I would say as my purple Kool-Aid flows through my veins here and my optimism, I mean, I could see him getting to 35. That's really the ultimate ceiling, and probably more realistically 32. But I think Vegas is miscalculated here. I mean, that's the only thing I say. I think they forgot these guys didn't really play.
I am 100% with you. I think it's like they miscalculated the Kings their summer league team last year. That was a really bad play by them.
Yeah.
Look, everything that happened last year, you had 22 wins.
Yep.
I think the Kings. I don't think you can be that unhealthy again. I just, my heart of hearts, I don't think that's going to happen. It could happen. Hopefully I'm wrong. But Grant had him at no more than 25. I was not ready to go there. I said I think I could see a 3 in front of it, but a very low 3, 30, 31, kind of where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we'll see. But I just, like say with, a lot of things got to happen, but stay healthy. But I mean, I can't believe Keegan Murray and Hunter and Sabonis and Monk wouldn't make a significant difference. And we already have to be pretty happy about Sharp and Acuff through their additions. And then we're counting on improvements from Ryno and Clifford and Cardwell. So anyway, yeah, I'll stand on that. I'm thinking in the 30s. So we'll see.
I like it. Okay, so AP asks, who do you have who's the top 3 coming off your bench? And I want to add onto the back end of that, Jerry, how do you handle, or what do you think Hunter's role is going to be this year, considering he's on an expiring deal?
I would, I would like to see him come off the bench, personally. I'd almost rather him go with Keegan Murray and Precious Achua, or Ryno as a 4, stretch 4, have one of them. But either way, if to me, Hunter and Monk, and Sharp, if you have those 3 guys, not even counting Clifford, that's a pretty good 9 guys. And and I could see, certainly Cardwell as a strictly backup center. Well, he can give you some solid minutes, but I think I'd like to see Ryno really take the stretch 4 spot. I don't know if he can, but I would like that. I'm pretty sure that Precious Achua probably is a little better right today when you look at the whole thing, but I don't know if that's still the right way to go. And then I would just soon go ahead and get Keegan at 3 and get on with it. He can play 4, but I think 3 you'd like to, at least I'd like to believe that 3 should be his best position.
Okay, so let me counter you there. If he's playing 3, that's not going to probably change who he's guarding on the other side of the floor. Will it change who's guarding him?
Probably not much. I'd say in general, yeah, I think he'll have 3s guarding him, which I think would be tougher for him, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think from an offensive standpoint, I think would be easier for him to have 4s guarding him. So you factor that in, it might hurt him offensively. I don't know that it would, but it really doesn't make any difference in some ways. At some point, if he's going to be really good, he's going to have to. That's part of it, isn't it?
Yep, 100%. BJ wants to know if Acuff right now is better than Davion Mitchell.
Potentially he is. I wouldn't say, today compared to Davion today, he's not. The way Davion is in Miami, not at all. But as a rookie, as a 19-year-old, definitely. See, the thing about Davion, he played 4 years in college.
Mm-hmm.
I always say, that's the thing that a lot of times we tend to forget. It's like even with Steph Curry or Damian Lillard and those guys, they played 3 or 4 years in college.
That's right. And Max and Neek played.
Yeah, they weren't.
More.
Yeah, they weren't 19 when they came to the league, and so it's a definite. I think a little. You got to give the guy a little more time, but it's a good question. But I didn't really even see Davion Mitchell play at 19 as a freshman at Baylor. He didn't play, I don't think. So yeah, I guess that's your answer.
I think, and it's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. 4 of Scott Perry's 5 draft picks have played 4 or more years in college. And even you look at the guys that he's gotten that were undrafted, they played multiple years in college. I think he values that a lot. And I think that's very smart when you're building a franchise, because you have guys that are ready or more ready physically to step on the floor in the NBA.
Yeah, I think there's less risk, and I like it to a point. I tell you where I don't, and I think he showed it this year by drafting Acuff, a 19-year-old. In other words, if you're really looking to get a star, you're not likely to get one as a senior, because they would have been taken.
Yeah,
that it came out years ago, and this is a team that doesn't. I don't know that we don't know that Acuff will be, but we're pretty sure that Neek wasn't going to be, or Sharp probably not going to be an NBA star, an all-star level player, right. And you're hoping that Acuff can be. And in my mind, he's really about the only guy on the roster that could be.
I agree. Okay, I think this is Doug Christie's biggest challenge. One of his biggest challenges in the off season. Jerry asks, or excuse me, BJ asks, what are the chances we see Sabonis with the French kid 4 and 5 or vice versa?
I hope we see them together quite a bit. And something he pointed out, something we've talked about, both two guys playing high like the old Vlade and Chris Webber played during the Rick Adelman era. You had 2 bigs high because they were both outstanding passers. And then you got a lot of cutting and away from the ball because the basket was free. You didn't have guys clogging up the lane, and they could both, and both were good offensively. And some, and then you play a little high-low out of that. And then I think with the key would be, of course, I think is defensively. Obviously, both guys have some real questions about that. If Ryno, I kind of think that Sabonis could guard 4s.
I was just going to ask you, do you think if they do lean a little more zone, could Sabonis, Ryno, and Cardwell be on the floor at the same time?
I don't know. I mean, they could, but I'm just not. I just think you'd have better options. Okay. I think having 2 of those guys, whether it's Cardwell and Sabonis, I think you might could at times. But I think at least early on, I think it's going to be a little bit of a stretch with Sabonis and Ryno. I think, but I think you need to get to it and find out, because I could see, where with Reyno's skills, I mean, he's capable of a lot, and defensively, I think in a zone, he can protect the rim a little bit better that way, and I'd try to get Sabonis, on the opposite of the right side of the court, because so many teams are right-handed and there's more misses come off the other side, so you want your best rebounder there
Great
in the
point.
zone. And so, yeah, I hope they try that. I do. I think it could work. I really do. I don't know that, to me, it'd be one of those things you say, we're going to try to get this combination, 7, 8 minutes a half,
Yeah,
type thing, just, and then see how it goes. And you might have something.
Yeah, very true. It's a great point. The reason I added Cardwell in is I'm thinking the defense with Reno and Sabonis,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not the greatest situation. So that's where Doug Christie, because I think, Jerry, for the best version of this Kings to show itself, you have to have the two of those guys on the floor together.
I do too. Yeah, I think you've got to get to that at some point. That's why it'd be nice if that Keegan could really establish as an elite three. That would even make it easier.
Well, you said this, you said it in a couple post-game shows last year. At times, we were seeing from Precious what you were hoping to see from Keegan. So I
Yeah.
wonder if that could be a battle at some point in this season.
Well, I think it could be. I think with Precious, he's more of a pure four who could play small ball five. We've seen that. I mean, not that you want to say he died of, but I mean, his rebounding and his shooting is suspect deep, and we know that. But he has his moments. But yeah, I could see where it may be early. If you just start a team today, your best team might very well be Keegan at 4 and Hunter at 3. But I'm not sure that's the smart team. That's
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%.
I mean, I don't know that where you're going with that.
Yep.
As opposed to whether it's Reyno at 4 or 5 with he and Sabonis, a little mix and match. I think with Keegan, Hunter off the bench, Precious off the bench in spots, Monk off the bench, Sharp off the bench, Sneak off the bench. Then you've got a good bench. You have you got some questions about point guard. We've seen Monk play it very well. We've seen him play it poorly. But I do think that's where Sabonis, even if they don't get another guy, if he's at his best, he could help that.
No doubt about it. Peter asks, Mr. Reynolds, can you share with us your experience necessitating the shot clock, which college didn't implement until 1985? My uncle has told me of low scoring games and keep away.
Yeah. Of course, I was certainly part of some of that. When I was a junior college coach, I know we had a great team, and team held it on us and beat us like 23-19. It's about to go nuts.
God.
I had a championship level team, and that's the way it was. They just no shot clock, and we saw that with, as I recall, about the last low scoring game with Villanova and Georgetown, where Villanova really milked the clock. And I always remember I did that in college division later on myself, because I had good players, but I wanted very few. I wanted to control the clock because I didn't want a lot of possessions. We weren't real athletic. We had some smart kids, but they weren't very athletic. So I wanted to make sure that there's going to be a 60-55 game. and I knew if it was, we'd win most of them.
Right.
But if it's an 85-80 game, we were going to lose most of them.
Was it considered like unethical or kind of bush to do that?
I don't think. Well, I mean, if you really totally held it and didn't even try to play,
Hmm.
I think it was. I mean, no, but I think as long as it was a control the games type thing. I think most coaches say that's just strategy. You know, uh, I actually would rather see some of that as what we see now, and especially at the pro level, to where every team plays the same. You know, push the ball up in transition, look for a three, get into high screen and roll, nothing's there, draw and kick it out, swing the ball.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
team's the same. Some are better at it.
Okay, I think we've talked about this before, but if we see the Kings roll out on night one and they're running that same offense, you might be under 22 and a half games. Vegas
It,
might be right.
yeah, I mean, really, I think the Kings really do need to control the possessions, control the tempo a little bit, and certainly when they are in a half court, kind of be a little more structured. I think they need to make sure they get certain guys shots and all that. I think they don't have as much talent as other teams. So I would say that's kind of like in boxing. The reason uh, championship fights are 15 rounds because the longer it goes, the better fighter's almost always going to win.
Yeah, yeah, Jerry, I just don't think they're that. And Scott Perry's trying to get there. It's getting better, but even when the team was good, they weren't super athletic.
No,
And
no, and you got to. I mean, it's like, yeah, you want to see that. I mean, fans, we want to see teams flying up and down. They can do all that. Yeah, San Antonio can do that. The Knicks can do that.
yep,
Yeah, but King can't do that. New Orleans Pelicans can't do that. I mean, at some point, you kind of got to know what your lane is, and what your that's we've talked about this so much. I mean, once you've got your roster, you can motivate it, but you've got to utilize talent correctly. I think that's the
bingo.
key, and you can use it correctly, and you're still not going to, beat San Antonio, but instead of instead of maybe getting beat 30, you get beat 15. Now, some people would say, well, what's the difference? Well, I think there's a big difference. You're in the game as opposed to not being in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important.
Mm-hmm. I'm 100% with you. If I hold my breath now anytime this team throws an alley oop. This has been the worst 14 months of alley oop conversions, I think, in the history of the NBA, Jerry. Usually you just throw that ball anywhere near the backboard and you're good. Not this team.
Well, yeah, especially the open court alley oops, from 30
Yes.
feet stuff. It's like, really? Really? You have to throw that now? I was watching a WNBA game every day and they did that. It's like,
Stop. Really?
I'm serious. It's like, well, first of all, she'd have caught it around the net, but she fumbled it there anyway. Like the guard threw it to her like she's going to get it at the rim or something. It's like, are you kidding me? I looked at the coach and so she was shaking her head. It's like, yeah, I shake my head too. It's like, what planet are you on here, girl, to drive it in there and keep possession? So anyway, yeah, alley oop it become alley nope.
Alley
Most of
nope. So Doug last year, because of the injuries, there was a lot of times where guys knew they were going to get a lot of playing time. There was going to be runway, and I think that benefited players. But with the roster where it's at right now, I think Doug has an opportunity, a better opportunity this season to have a little bit more of a bite behind his bark if a player is not doing something. How important is that, Jer?
Well, I think it's going to be all the difference, Ryno. I think that's a great question, great point, because I think that Doug's coaching really probably for his job, maybe, but he does have a roster that he's got some options, and I think probably preseason is really important. That by the end of preseason, he's got his 8-9 men pretty well figured out how he wants to play, who he wants to play, and how he wants to play. He really does need to go into the season that way, I think. game one really has a pretty good idea. Now, that doesn't mean it won't change. Injuries or poor play, good play could change. But generally speaking, this is how we need to play. This is how we're going to play. This is the guys I'm going to play. And then be willing to, when guys aren't playing particularly well offensively or defensively, jerk their chains. You got to, that's the one thing, and really about the only thing a coach can do is take time away. That's the most important thing to players. They know that. Agents know that. You can't get stats with your butt on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, but if you don't, it's like the old deal. It's like, well, he's a veteran starter and, well, yeah, but that doesn't, he doesn't get minutes he hadn't earned. Veterans have to earn their minutes. Rookies have to earn their minutes. You may be losing a game, but that doesn't mean you can't be trying to play the right way and that sort of thing.
Amen. Very well said. BJ asks a question that's hard to answer, but Jerry, do you think Acuff will drop off a pass on the pick and roll with Sabonis, or most likely keep it? Seems like he likes an attack first and pass second type.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy. Yeah, I think he is. I think he's a scoring point guard first. I do. And I think really, if you're a point guard and you really are on a high screen roll and the guy actually rolls, you really do need to attack the basket until you can't. That's the idea of it. In other words, make the defense commit to you. Now, if they don't, then score it. If they do commit to you, then that's where you make your dishes. And I think that's one thing that has impressed me with him. I think he's a very creative passer.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw in summer league. I mean, it's tough to get assists when guys can't make a shot
or catch the basketball.
So just watched him in college. I thought he was really good that way. So yeah, I think he'll be. I guess my better answer might be, I think he'll do the right thing a lot. But I do think he's going to put pressure on the defense to score, which is what he should do. That's what the screen roll is. But I guess what I want to see, and we talked about, I think it's the last time, or I know I was talking maybe on the King's Herald, but Summer League, I don't think I've ever been so pissed as the high screens, they didn't roll.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about that last week.
I mean, it's like, God, poor old Acuff come off those screens and they'd just be two guys jumping because the screener would just stand there.
Yep.
Get your butt out of there.
100%.
So
I think the biggest key initially for those two, and it's something that the Kings really did not do well a season ago. Last season, it wasn't as bad. It got a little bit better. Is Acuff coming right off of Sabonis' shoulder. Mm-hmm. That is what's really going to open stuff up, and that's also what's going to get Domas, conversely, into foul trouble if you're not coming off his shoulder, because that's when the hip starts to lean, etc. Mm-hmm. So if you can get a clean screen, I have the same confidence that you have, Jer, because I think Darius sees the floor really well, better than I thought he would. Some of the creative passing, you're spot on about that, but just passing in general, it needs to be better. I think it's part of the issue with the three ball. We could go into an hour about the three ball, but it's definitely near the top of the list. The passing has just been poor. It's at guys' feet. It's over here. It's over there.
Right.
Because you're having guys, or you're asking guys to make plays that aren't playmakers.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about great point guards. I mean, the ball gets at the right place, the right time,
Yes.
Where guys can catch easy and shoot easy. And, I mean, I think Acuff has some potential along those lines, but he's got a long way to go. And, and certainly that's expected at 19 years old. I do think the thing, and we've talked about this endlessly, but as a colleague, going back when I was a college coach, a thing I probably spent more time on than anything, any kind of screen roll situation. Guards patient. Wait till the screen is set. Mm-hmm. In other words, too often, and I mean, see it in the pros all the time. Guards are trying to use the screen before it's set, which creates an illegal screen. And I always said there's no advantage in that because you want that screen set. You want your defender to see the screen. That's what you want.
100%.
Because you want him to know there's a screen there, and hopefully there'll be a switch, or if there's not, then the screen roll. So anyway, just one of those little things that is a big thing if it's not consistently done well.
What did you teach your point guards about declining screens?
Well, I always said, depends a little bit there. Look to see if your man is already, say, for instance, looks like he's getting ready to get over the screen before, in a position to get over the screen, then you don't need the screen.
Right.
He screened himself.
Right.
And I'll say this, most guards with any kind of level of skill, and you played, that's something as a scorer you pick up on right away. It's like, okay, I don't.
They're in the worst angle they could possibly be in to defend me.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, lifestyle, a couple more just to wrap up. We've talked about this a lot, but I'm going to kick it to you, Jerry. To me, this season is huge for Keegan Murray. Still don't know exactly who we have. What would you consider a successful season for Keegan?
Well, I think for me, it's going to be, he's almost going to have to improve statistically in every category.
Okay.
Obviously he needs to be on the floor. It's injuries, you can't hope, that's nobody's fault when it happens. So, but in my mind, I guess I've thought about it a good bit. I expect him to be a 16 to 18 point a game scorer on it, close to 40% threes, and where he's producing at about a 1.3.5 points per shot type thing, and still be outstanding defensively. But really, as much as anything, kind of like the 16-8 or 18-7 type numbers, they got to be more consistent. You can't have the 4 one night and the 28 one night. What you're looking for is a 22, and the bad nights, the 14, the good nights, the 26 type thing. The consistency. We need that from Keegan. And I mean, for this team and for him. And I think that's not asking too much. As far as I'm concerned, if he can't do that, then he's just not the guy that we, want him to be and thought he would be. And I'm not one of those that, well, if he's not an all-star, then, that all-star stuff's pretty tough. I wouldn't say he couldn't be, but that he doesn't have to be for me to think he's really part of the solution. That's the main thing. Can he be productive enough, and you see enough from him that that he, my only rule, could he be a valuable player on a 50+ win team?
Yep.
And right now we haven't seen that.
My definition of a successful season for him is being in the discussion for most improved player of the year. He's ripe for that, Jerry. If the offense comes around, the defense, even if the defense stays the same, that would be a big win for this team.
That would be. I mean, that's a good. I probably should have thought of something like that, but that's the better way to look at it, I think. Of course, it could also be said we got about 6 guys that ought to be competing for most improved player.
It's too easy of a take. You're right. You got the sound drop. Duh. That's funny. That is really funny. I think about that as we lament, and we're going to get ready to wrap up here in a second because I don't want to take all of Jer's day. It's not just a Keegan problem the last few years, and it's not even just under Mike Brown or under Doug Christie. It's been under Mike Brown.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like almost every night you had one of the 2 forwards or 2 players that were the 2 points, 3 assists. Does that speak to you? Because they're good players, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray. Does that speak to you as a structural problem with what you're doing offensively? Or is it just, the guys aren't good? They're not playing well.
I think it's a combination. I do think that that's part of it because I think guys like that, are there's not a selfish bone in their body.
Right.
Now they need to be more selfish, but if they're not going to be, that's where probably as a coach and teammates you can help them. You've got to get them involved more, and at some point because I think Harrison certainly that was as good a player as he's been through his career. That's really a flaw. He would kind of blend into. He would be more than happy to be a fifth man. Sometimes that's a very valuable commodity, but
Yeah.
it really he need to be what I always say thirsty, a little more thirsty, and certainly that's the case with Keegan. And so I think sometimes it may be up to the team itself, coaches in particular, to run things for him to get him go make sure that he's involved more, and then hopefully that'll keep him involved. But I think that is a big part of it. Yeah, you see, over the years, different guys and different teams find ways to get. It's kind of like I always say a little bit like a Mikal Bridges of the Knicks.
Yeah.
He's a guy that if you don't really get him involved, you'll know. He'll play a game and you won't notice him, and he's a good player.
He better be. What was that, like 5 draft picks?
Yeah, well, yeah, he should be a superstar with what they gave up for him. Of course, in fairness, it's probably worth it to them. They won a champion. They wouldn't have won without him. So
Yeah. Last question, not even with by the way, did you see what happened with Miami today and their social media team?
no,
So they posted upcoming link for the LeBron James introductory press conference on the 27th.
wow.
And it somehow ESPN caught it before they took it down. So and not even not even talking about if LeBron ends up in Philly, looking at the financials and how every team is scrambling to get out of the second apron. Is this a 1-year experiment in Philly with what they have on the books?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think and I mean with LeBron, I mean not that he can't play several more years, but I don't know how you could kind of go into it thinking that he can play at a high level a couple more years. I mean, he was terrific last year, but at some point, Father Time might kick in.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's like these pitchers that can throw 100-mile-an-hour for a lot of years, and all of a sudden it's 94, and then pretty soon they can't get anybody out. and as I say, I hope LeBron doesn't try to play too long. That would worry me, but. I think all those teams that are chasing him, that probably is one of those things that concern them. How long are we going to commit to this guy, or he commit to us, or whatever? I don't know.
But even if LeBron doesn't go to Philly, and I'm 100% with you there, but if he doesn't go to Philly with what Jaylen Brown's making, with what Embiid is due,
yeah,
you can't,
they're. He'd have to be. I mean, he's going to have to be willing to take, the exception kind of stuff. He can't. He's not going to be able to make the kind of money he's been making. I think he knows that, though. It's kind of like whether he goes to Cleveland with Mitchell and Harden and Mobley. I mean, they're all those teams are really cap strapped.
Right.
So I think they're not. I don't think they're any of them trying to get him to say next year, we'll have a 2-year deal lined up for $50 million a year. I don't think, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'm just saying the Kings, if they get through this year right, and you don't make any big financial promises, you're going to have a lot of cap room next summer.
Yep.
You finally have some flexibility. I would just keep an eye on Maxey and Edgecombe, because
somebody's going to be. I mean, that's kind of always kind of like not that Lou Dort was a major star, but a terrific player. Mm-hmm. But they, Oklahoma City, as smart and good as they are, they had to move him, and it saved them probably $100 million over the next few years. I mean, I don't care who you are. That's a number that gets your attention, and so that's second apron. And you're right though. I think that's once you get cap room, that's exactly what you should be looking at. Kind of like the Jalen Brown thing. That was probably more than anything else was a money thing.
Yes, 100%.
And these teams can't really have two guys making 75 million a year.
Yeah.
And so that's yeah. I mean, with as a fan, I know if they can get the cap room, I think they can be in the running a lot more than probably the media thinks, because most teams don't have any cap room. So any free agents, it's like with Duran. If in fact the Kings had 50 million of cap room, they probably would have had him. Because he doesn't necessarily want to leave Pistons. Now, probably Pistons would have matched it, but I'm just saying, if it's not a restricted free agent, I always say it goes back to I always say the best free agent the Kings ever got was Vlade Divac, and the reason they got him is they had more money available and they overpaid him, which was considerably overpaid. It really wasn't, but at that time everybody thought it was. But they had that Jeff Petrie smartly did overpay to get him.
Yep.
And it worked out, but had the money. And so if you got the money and you're willing to overpay, you can get a very valuable piece. And and really the way the game's played now, probably the draft may be the third most valuable part.
No doubt. Hey, you're spot on.
It's trades and free agency. When you look at the champions, the Knicks, they're a great example of that. One player on the roster was a drafted player.
Yep. Haunted Horse says, I am ready for LeBron to just shut up. I hate his act. I can't complain with that. We're all ready to move
I'm on board there. It's like this act is really getting old, isn't it?
Yes.
The guy's an all-time great. I get that, but the idea is age. We just don't know what we want. He doesn't know what he wants to do. That's bullshit.
Yes.
I think he knew what he wanted to do before he left the Lakers. Personally, now maybe a couple of things kicked in there, like the Sixers, that he wasn't counting on. I think he has to be interested in some of those things, but so we'll see. But
I think he's too soft to deal with the media in Philadelphia with the expectations through the roof. I don't think he's going to want that for his last year. I don't think it was a huge mistake, but I don't think it was a mistake that like the Heat had a date maybe that they were already planning on for a press conference, and somehow you post that. Like, you don't just do that thinking, oh well, if he does sign here, this is going to be the.
I've always thought it's between Cleveland and Miami. That's what I've always thought, but and certainly both teams really with him would be championship contenders, I think.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'll say this. I hope he goes east.
Yes. Yes.
That's all. But I'm with the last. I'm like I said, man, there's just not enough mustard for that hot dog. There just isn't.
Jerry, you've seen a lot of things. Do you know what a haunted horse is?
A haunted horse?
Yeah, I can't figure out what a haunted horse is. That's his handle.
No, a haunted house.
Haunted house,
yeah, haunted horse. Well, no. I tell you what, that'd be worth checking into. Haunted horse.
I wouldn't want to ride one.
I feel sorry for the horse if he's haunted. I know that.
I know. Seriously.
Yeah, who wants to haunt the horse? Yeah.
Poor
but I'm with you, haunted horse. Let's just LeBron, pick your damn team and get on with it.
With. Buddy, I appreciate you always. Thanks for it. Always goes too quick.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, I enjoyed it. And obviously, boy, the questions just get better and better. So I really look forward to that. And so it's a good time. And so I'll try to get better prepared and ready for you next week.
Yeah, you know what? This week was great. You don't have to prepare every day.
Okay.
Week. Just
I'll take a couple days off.
2 days off. please.
Whew, thanks a
Yeah.
lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate it, Coach.
absolutely. You
All
got
right.
it.
I'm
You got it.
coachable, though. I appreciate that.
You're the best. Enjoy
right.
the cooler weather. Get your walks in. See you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday.
All right,
See you
buddy.
guys.
Good stuff. The best show of the week, hands down. Oh, love talking to Jer in that format. You never know where we're gonna go. You just don't. But super appreciative for Jerry taking his time to join us during the summertime for an extended conversation. And great job by all of you. Those are some really good questions. I think we were pretty much on the same page about Russell Westbrook. We still don't know what a haunted horse is. Still trying to figure that out. Yeah, I finally got that drop horse. I had to work hard to get that drop. Needed that one. So hey guys, coming in very late. Did I miss anything? A lot, Patrick. We had a good conversation. Jerry is awesome. He is the best. He is absolutely the best. Like it's crazy. Can't even tell you. As somebody that grew up here in Sacramento, watching Jerry and Grant every single night, being a Kings diehard, like all of you, especially if you're watching this right now, to ever think that I would get to do an interview with Jerry, let alone call him a friend. It's surreal. Like when you see your phone ring and it's Jerry Reynolds just to shoot the shit. Like that's pretty damn cool. And a lot of that is because of all of you, the support for the channel here on If You Don't Like That. But yeah, I'm just like you. I guess, I'm crazy. I like to be in front of a camera and talk and seem to know a few things about basketball here and there. Appreciate it, Tristan. And yeah, we've got our Discord last week that we are going to be doing the founders memberships. The Venmo link is not working. So email me at Ryno in Sacktown if you want to get in on our Venmo, or on our Venmo, not on our Venmo. If you want to get in on our Discord channel that's going to be launching for the 26-27 season. It's going to be a more intimate setting. If you know anything about Discord, it is kind of like a group chat room. We can all see each other. We can all hear each other. You're not going to have me and a guest talking down to you. And it's going to be a place where I'm going to be posting not just these get-togethers and doing watch parties and having guests like Jerry. I have a G League champion who's already confirmed that they will be coming on the Discord to spend some time with us. It's going to be a place where I'm going to be posting links to some articles. I'm going to give you guys a heads up on what's coming up next. If I get a little bit of a tip that something might be in the works, I might hop on. I might do it from the arena. You just don't know. But get in on it. If you don't do it this week, no worries. We'll have monthly memberships. But through the rest of the week, $20 gets you a Founders t-shirt sponsored by Bennett's Restaurants. Huge thanks to Brian and the team. Go check them out, bennettsrestaurants.com. What's the special today? You've got happy hour today. Weekend brunch coming up. Prime rib on the weekend as well. Bubbles and brunch is great. It's like $55. 2 entrees, bottle of champagne, 3 locations in the greater Sacramento area. Make a reservation, bennettsrestaurants.com. But yes, you'll get a Founders t-shirt in the entire season for free. So thank you to everybody that has already signed up. Response has been awesome. So appreciate you. And if you don't sign up before we launch, no problem. You can still get in on the fun. We are looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. I have been spending a ton of time the last week and a half really getting familiar with Discord because I want to make it, I don't want this thing to be shoddy, like where, oh, wait, let me find this. It's going to be a clean product and a fun product. So, and to be quite honest with you, with everything that's going on right now, there's a very good chance we might be back to a spot where we do not have daily King's Courts because of an opportunity that might come up. Grant and I could be doing something else. But that will be the place that the King's Court really, really lives if we're not having our daily 3 o'clock shows. So get in on it. Looking forward to it. When's our first meetup? I will announce that in the coming weeks. Good question, though. Discord shitbirds, come on. Let's go. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Uh, like I said, we've got a G League champion that all of you will recognize that's going to come on, already confirmed with me. I'm sure we'll get Jerry on there as well. And the cool thing, too, about the Discord, I'm not trying to sell you. Like, I would love to have all of you there. And the only reason that I'm putting a price on it is so I can cover expenses. If I could do it for free, I would. So big thanks to Bennett. But the cool thing about it to me is it's off the record to a degree. We're not on YouTube. It's not going to a podcast. It's you're going to get some more different insights and more intimate conversations that you can't always have right here on YouTube. I got to be careful about some things I say. Not going to cuss. I'm not saying that I am a cusser. You get the line that I'm going down. So hopefully, and thank you to everybody. Dorian just became a founder. I've got a cool idea for the shirts too. I can't wait to pound those out. I'm thinking on like one side of the chest, founder in cursive, and then we'll get everything else worked out with the logo and stuff. But that would be really cool, like founder in cursive, like like I don't know if you work at a tire shop, Chris, across your chest right here. You got the patch. You're not getting patched shirts. I want to be clear about that. Can we swear on Discord? Yes, you can swear on Discord, but there will be a line. Okay, like if you go like Euro trip, English soccer hooligan swearing, no, that ain't gonna fly. But yeah, appropriate swearing will be fine because it will be again it's an adult place. I'm not going to have kids in Discord. Now we're not going to be like doing anything crazy like adultish, but the expectation here and many times we have what's oh gosh, I'm going brain dead. Ali, is it Ali's son? That is here all the time. We've got Tedora here from time to time. Very mindful. I know there's actually a lot of kids that watch the replays, listen to the podcast with their parents, and so yes, we keep it as good as we can. Might need coaching to get on Discord. All of that's coming in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be sending out an email to the entire group with a how-to because you'll need to create a username and all that, but you'll get lined up on how to do that. So, all right, we're out. My thanks to Jerry for today. Great conversation. If you missed any of it, make sure that you download the King's Court app anywhere you find podcasts. If you want to take it on the go, the numbers, holy crap. Let me thank all of you directly that are listening on the podcast. You all are incredible. The numbers have been through the freaking roof on the podcast. So thank you very much to all the YouTubers. Thank you. Appreciate you. Another Jerry Reynolds Wednesday in the book. Grant, 7 o'clock tonight. Make sure you join him. We'll be back in the studio tomorrow. In fact, tonight, 8 o'clock, I have another thing that I'm doing tonight for Discord. So we're ramping it up. But Grant, 7 o'clock, join him. We'll be back tomorrow, back in the studio. Have a great rest of the afternoon. I always kind of end this way. You want to go Haunted Horses way? He'll be doing a show in about 15 minutes, HollywoodRejects.com. Different show. Don't bring your kids. All right? Don't hide your women, hide your kids. What was that guy that went viral? Hide your children, yeah, you're gonna have to hide them for that show. But we will see you tomorrow. We're out. Court dismissed.